It's the Friday News Roundup. We're talking about how the slavery exhibit panels at the president's house have been restored. Plus, the snow emergency has officially ended. What grade does the city get for the snow cleanup? And the king of steaks is sort of changing up their cheesesteak recipe. It's Friday, February 20th. I'm Trenae Nuri, and here's what Philly's talking about. Joining me this week at the Filler Club is CityCast Philly executive producer Matt Katz. Hey, Matt.
Hey, Trenae.
Before we get into the news here in Philly this week, I want to remind our loyal listeners about a new show. You're going to see a little something extra in your podcast feed on Sundays. It is the new CityCast show called Your City Could Be Better. So our CityCast CEO, David Plotz, is sitting down every week with a different host and producer from the CityCast network. I'll be on the show sometimes, and David and the guests will talk about the things our cities are trying, as we grow and change, what cities are doing right or wrong, and the weird things they're trying, and maybe surprising successes.
Yeah, the CityCast network, for those of you who don't know, has 13 cities, including ours. So between all of us, we're hoping that this new show gives you a sense of what's happening elsewhere around the country and what that might mean for Philly. So we'll be talking about like dog poop crises and office to residential conversions and bike lanes, tensions with the federal government. This week, I'm told the show will be about data centers, which is very relevant here in Pennsylvania. Governor Shapiro has been talking a lot about getting more data centers into the state, so we're going to be hearing more about that locally, so it'll be interesting to tune in. And this will be in your CityCast Philly feed every weekend. Oh, you can also get the show on YouTube if you want to watch it. It's all video podcast as well.
That's right. All right, let's get into some Philly news.
Hello, Philadelphia. This is your mayor, Sherelle Parker, and by now I know that you have heard the good news regarding our president's house litigation. I want you to know that I am thrilled that the city's preliminary injunction has been granted in full, meaning that the National Park Service must restore the president's house site, including all of the interpretive panels, immediately. Yes, you heard me correctly. Philadelphia, we must acknowledge that this is a huge win for the people of this city and our country.
That was Mayor Sherelle Parker in a video posted on social media this week addressing the big news that came out, and appropriately enough during Black History Month. So let me catch you all up. On President's Day, a federal judge ordered the National Park Service to restore the slavery exhibit panels at the president's house on 6th and Market Streets.
This all stems from an executive order made by President Trump to get rid of exhibits at national historic sites that he thinks make America look bad, essentially.
Right. And so in many ways, I think Philly was preparing for this. Yeah. But the problem was that there was no conversation with the city. Right. And so that is why the city took action and sued over this. Okay, so let's talk about what the exhibit has looked like over the past few weeks. When the panels were removed, people were flocking down the 6th and Market Streets, putting up protest posters and flowers, et cetera. Those were eventually taken down. When I went to the exhibit on Saturday, we walked in the president's house and there was maybe like 1 or 2 protest signs still visible. But there have been reports this week that barriers have gone up around the president's house. And it looks like the National Park Service put up those barriers and hosed down the walls, I'm guessing in anticipation of putting the panels back up.
And also effectively to remove the protest posters, right?
Right. That's what I'm thinking.
In her initial ruling, federal Judge Cynthia M. Roof quoted the book 1984 from George Orwell. This was a scathing opinion in which she ordered that these slavery panels be replaced and put back onto the president's house. Of course, this is the first White House down the block from the Liberty Bell. There were efforts over the course of many years to get this place recognized for what it was. So Judge Roof wrote in her opinion, "This court is now asked to determine whether the federal government has the power it claims to dissemble and disassemble historical truths when it has some domain over historical facts. It does not. The government claims it alone has the power to erase, alter, remove, and hide historical accounts on taxpayer and local government funded monuments within its control." Judge Roof said, in fact, "You are not the Ministry of Truth in George Orwell's 1984 book. You are the United States government, and you need to work cooperatively with local governments, and you do not own history." But this is what the White House said in response to the judge's ruling. Spokesman Taylor Rogers for the Trump administration said in a statement that the federal government is, quote, "engaged in an ongoing review of our nation's American history exhibits in accordance with the president's executive order to eliminate corrosive ideology, restore sanity, and reinstate the truth." Orwellian indeed, you know?
And this all culminated on Thursday to the panels being reinstalled at the president's house, at least temporarily, because the federal government made an appeal to a higher court on this ruling. And Mayor Sherelle Parker, she actually showed up on the scene when the panels were being put back up at the president's house. And she shook the hands of the Park Service employees, thanking them for reinstalling the panels. And they responded, it was an honor. It was really such a moving, emotional scene. Last weekend, Matt, I told you I was going to go on this walking tour with 1838 Black Metropolis. It's a walking tour here in the city. And our tour started at the president's house. I've been to the president's house when the panels were up. It was like a physically cold day in February when I went, but it just felt really cold in a sense, like a metaphoric sense, because it's like the nation had once again did this like public display of turning its back on not only its history, but its own citizens. Matt, the 9 enslaved people who were working and living at this home, their names are still etched in stone at the house. But it was really quite interesting that the name that they chose to identify Ona Judge, they have her listed as Oni Judge. It was like sort of a nickname that the Washingtons called her, which to me, as a Black woman, as a Philadelphian, how I interpreted it, it was almost like re-emphasizing the fact that America's first family like owned people.
Yeah.
And right next to their names, those 9 names, is like a partially enclosed space with like wooden panels behind the house. And this is where they slept. And it was so tight. So my son and I and my daughter, we were like walking inside and we were just like, the tour guide was like, this is where they slept. This was their sleeping quarters. And we were like, in awe, because it's just like, how could 9 people fit in such a small place? And this is just yards away from a long line of people patiently waiting to go see the Liberty Bell. And so what I'm saying is that this tour was just so powerful for me. And I want to acknowledge like the amazing work of the stakeholders who are involved with erecting the president's house to begin with, those who are continuing to take these tours for folks, and just the efforts of even the city in this case to making sure that this history doesn't get whitewashed, doesn't get forgotten. I also found it kind of like significant that like in some ways the city and the federal government made like a treaty, right? Like they worked together to like make the president's house even happen. But now the year of the 250th anniversary of the founding of this nation, we're in this like public legal battle. We really need to reflect on how significant this is all when the country just recognized Juneteenth as a national holiday back in 2021. That was 5 years ago, 5. And I think this whole battle is just like been this like disrespect to like the men, women, and children who lived through slavery. To do all of this in such a public way on such a significant anniversary for America, I find was pretty disrespectful.
And yet, as the Inquirer editorial board pointed out, the victory in court, at least currently, I mean, unless this gets overturned by a higher court, this victory is pretty meaningful. The Inquirer editorial board wrote, in a poetic touch that feels conjured by Octavius Cotto or William Still, these are 19th century civil rights leaders in Philadelphia, the Trump administration lost in federal court on a lawsuit brought by the city of Philadelphia, which is headed by its first African-American woman mayor. And the other positive thing I'd note is that the irony about this attempt at whitewashing history is, I'd argue, giving more people, at least in Philadelphia, the awareness and the information about the fact that the first president of the United States, who was unequivocally described as a hero and a statesman and a pure and indelible leader in the history books that I was assigned in school, but that he actually enslaved 9 people here in Philly, down the block from where the country was founded 250 years ago. So now more people are aware of that. I've seen more people at the president's house as I've been going by in recent weeks since this controversy erupted than I had previously. So there's an irony in that you have the Trump administration wanting to erase history and more people are becoming aware of history. And I think we should say their names, the names of the enslaved. Ona Judge, Hercules Posey, Mal, Giles, Austin, Richmond, Paris, Joe Richardson, Christopher Shields, and William Lee.
We've got more news after the break. If you're still looking for the perfect winter night out, now is your chance to check out Independence Blue Cross River Rink Winterfest on the Delaware River waterfront. For a limited time, enjoy 30% off fire pits and cozy cabin rentals Monday through Thursday. That means warm fires, twinkling lights, ice skating under the stars, and your own private space, all for less. With the Ben Franklin Bridge lighting up the night sky behind you, it's perfect for those midweek date nights, hang out with friends, or one last family winter memory before the season ends. But you have to act fast. Winterfest closes March 1st. Reserve your skating tickets, fire pits, and cabins now at riverrink.com. The city's winter emergency officially ended this week after 26 days of below freezing temperatures. I think we've all can be like, yes. It's been cold.
Yeah.
But the snow just won't go away.
Oh my God.
It is melting though. Have you noticed that?
It is melting.
It is melting.
Yes. Finally.
It
is so nasty. It's like brown and black and I don't know
it's
what.
Very dirty.
Yes. I mean, the snow came January 25th. We're now February 20th. There has not been snow since. It was 10 inches of snow back then, and it's still sticking around.
All right, so here are some stats on what the city has done to remove 10 inches of snow that fell on Philly. Mm-hmm. The streets department said it used 200 to 300 pieces of equipment every day to move snow. A snow melter eliminated 4.7 million pounds of snow.
They brought in the snow melter from Chicago, I read.
Oh.
Yeah. Thank you, Chicago.
Thanks, Chicago, yeah. More than 2,000 intersections were cleared. More than 18,000 ADA ramps were cleared. And slightly over 1,300 residential blocks near rec centers and key pedestrian areas were also cleared. 15,000 tons of salt.
Ooh. I feel like half of that is on my floor in my house because it stains your, you know, I take my shoes off.
I have hardwood floors, so it's like I have to keep mopping.
Yeah, right.
Like I'm looking like I'm playing, what's that game in the Winter Olympics?
Yeah, curling.
The curling, yeah. Yeah, it's been a lot.
All in, the city spent about $59 million on the storm response, which is pretty significant. And yet a lot of people don't think the city did enough, or did it well enough, or did it fast enough. And I know people are almost never happy after a snowstorm. There are always complaints, and there certainly were this time. Some streets were not getting hit with plows for days, sometimes nearly a week after the storm. I think, though, what was most frustrating over the course of this storm was the fact that intersections, bike lanes, sidewalk ramps were covered with snow, that the plows had moved when they were moving the snow off the streets. And that's what made it so difficult for weeks on end to just kind of walk and bike around the city. And then because of the unusually long sub-freezing temperatures, none of it ever melted.
So along with like just the frustration, I mean, I've seen videos of like the arguments over parking spots after you just shoveled.
Totally.
But I just kept asking, why don't they just dump the snow in the rivers?
Yeah, you kept asking
People
this the
were
whole
like,
time.
first of all, you know, we were talking about this. People were walking on the Schuylkill.
Right.
I saw a video this week. Someone fell in.
Yeah.
And it's just like, come on. But yeah, why can't they just dump all the excess snow to the rivers?
So the Inquirer actually answered this question, and it's the environment. Apparently, we dumped snow in the Delaware and Schuylkill rivers going back to at least 1899. Then this was a regular practice. Then in 1996, when 30 inches of snow fell, can you imagine 30 inches? Crazy.
I was there.
The city got a permit from the state to dump 500 tons of snow into the rivers. In 2003, it put 400,000 pounds of snow into the Schuylkill. But that's when environmentalists started raising concerns that the salt, antifreeze, trash that's mixed in with the snow could harm fish and the health of the rivers. And so that's what basically ended the practice. There was a big storm in 2010, and the city said there were environmental concerns with pollutants going into the river. So the State Department of Environmental Protection says we should keep snow at least 100 feet away from surface waters. So now basically the city puts excess snow into dump sites. And there's a disgusting one in Grace Ferry right now.
Yes,
it's like a mountain of snow, and it's really pissing off neighbors because, like, now what?
But it's like so disgusting. I saw this story on 6 ABC, and I don't know if all of it's snow.
Yeah.
Because it was like objects in there.
$100 says there's a mattress in there. Right?
Well, you know what? I just literally it just came to me. Why not dump the snow in like? Well, no, you can't do that. I was gonna say like, make use of the alleyways.
So then you can't get.
But you can't
through the alleyways.
Yeah, you can't get through the alleyways. Yeah. All right, scratch that. I'm just trying to find places to put the snow.
I know.
It's like, hurry up, we got to clean up because like, the world's coming to Philadelphia this year.
Right.
Well, hopefully by July or whatever, the snow will melt.
But the problem with these dump sites, like in Grace Ferry, is residents are worried about what happens when eventually it melts. Like, where is all that water going to go? And how long is it going to take to melt? Like the eyesore of it and then the potential flooding. So like, there's just ongoing issues related to the snow, even if this emergency is technically over. There have been 61 water main breaks that are weather-related. University City, I was there this week. It was a mess because of a water main break that shut down parts of Spruce Street. But I will say the lingering effect that I keep hearing everyone talk about is not the nasty piles of snow. It is the nasty piles of dog shit.
I know.
It's evident on every sidewalk, at least in South Philly and Center City particularly. I have never in my life seen that much dog shit in our neighborhoods as I do right now. And, I'm very aware of the dog shit. I
know,
can't
you're
stand
hyper
it.
aware.
Hyper aware, but this is the worst. And it's not just like piles. It is smeared across like swaths of sidewalk.
I know. I'm playing hopscotch around it.
Oh, God. If you don't normally take your shoes off in your house, now is the time to do so. You do not want to be wearing your shoes in your house because what is getting on there? Oh.
We've talked about this. Like,
yeah.
Because it's illegal, isn't it?
Well, you're supposed to pick up after your dogs.
And you get fined, but who... PPA.
PPA should be finding people.
Should be finding,
yeah, 100%.
Like y'all should be doing that.
But it's you have to catch somebody in the act. I mean, so I think part of it is that, yeah, some people never pick up after their dogs. So we're seeing some of that. And some of that got buried under snowbanks and just sat there and then kind of thawed and melted and then like spread. Meanwhile, people who normally...
Wait, are you saying... Wait, time out. Are you saying that the poop was frozen and it's thawing out?
Yeah, that's my theory. I think it's the poop that people don't pick up. I also think it's the poop that some people pick up, but it's hard to get all of it in that snow. And then they tried to pick up part of it, but they didn't really do it. And then they didn't really get all of it. And then it sank to the powder, and then it froze into ice, and then it thawed, and then it spread.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Just clean up the poop.
And the other issue is normally rain breaks all this shit down. So, but we've had actually a lot less rain than normal and hardly any rain during this stretch here. So instead of like gradually washing away and decomposing, it's all just smeared everywhere. And we really need some rain. And people should hose down. I don't even know what can you do. You can, if you have a hose, I guess you can hose down your sidewalk, but like you can't clean it up at this point because it's just smeared.
If you are like scrunching your nose in disgust like I am, like something's got to be done. Let us know what you're doing. Like I said, I'm playing hopscotch, like I'm hopping. All right, we've got more news after the break. Matt, The Simpsons came to Philly last weekend.
Yeah, they did.
Philadelphia, my kind of town. Throwing ice balls at Santa Claus, climbing greasy street lamps. The city where Lenny Dykstra learned to be crazy, where every steak is teased and every tush is pushed. Even though I've never been, I feel like I was born there and I never left. But I'm not gonna die there. Oh, no, not Homer Simpson. You'll see. I'll show them all. I guess what
honestly, Homer kind of gives Philly vibes. Like, his character gives Philly vibes. Like, maybe, I don't know. What do you say? Maybe he's like from Port Richmond or Kensington. Maybe even a little Delco, too.
The 800th episode of The Simpsons took place in Philadelphia. It was extremely Philadelphia. I mean, the number of Philly references was over the top.
Yeah, like all the stereotypes.
Yes. Homer got beat up by Gritty on the ice at a Flyers game. He saw the Roots from the front row. He went to a bathroom at Wawa. He also rode down the Schuylkill across Boathouse Row. He broke into Betsy Ross's house. He visited many statues at the Art Museum. There were like a dozen
like all the statues just like appeared.
There were statues from different Rocky movies. There was a statue of the frozen meat that Rocky punches. It was very funny. And then he ate his way through town. He had Down North Pizza.
Hey.
He went to the Taste-A-Cake factory. And then, of course, cheesesteaks, D'Alessandro's, and Pat's.
Yeah, Pat's.
And we have some news on Pat's.
I want to point out that cheesesteaks was in my predictions of 2026. Not that The Simpsons were going to be eating cheesesteaks, but that we would get a new cheesesteak. Do you remember this? Mm-hmm. And I said that the prices are going to go up for cheesesteaks. But anyway.
I did say that. I forgot.
Pat's King of Steaks, the originator of this glorious sandwich, is offering a limited time, quote unquote, new school cheesesteak. So how this works is traditionally Pat's, they layer their meat, cheese, and onions. But now this like new school way is to mix everything together and serve it on a seeded roll. You still can order the cheese fries, too. I'm
very excited about this. This was an announcement made last week. It was apparently tied to the fact that the father of the current owner, Frank Olivieri Sr., he passed away last month. And he was a traditionalist. But the rest of the family said, you know what, let's change with the times. And I am very thrilled about this.
Pat's isn't my favorite.
Right.
I like my meat very seasoned. I like Cooper sharp. I like a seeded roll.
Me too. This is why I'm excited. I was over at Uncle Gus's last weekend. My first time there.
Place.
It's in Reading Terminal. It's like a bunch of like prominent sandwich families in the city came together to make kind of a super cheesesteak. And the bread on this sandwich, this like slightly burnt sesame flavor, lingered in my mouth for hours afterwards. It was wonderful. Wonderful. And
did you get hots on it?
I did. There's 2 pepper options, and we got 1 of each.
I like Uncle Gus. Is not for the taste, but it's very simple.
Yeah.
Very simple.
Totally.
I like a cheesesteak place that just you don't need to be extra. Keep it simple.
Yeah. And you know, I like Pat's, but the roll is the weakest part of that sandwich. So if they're gonna zhuzh up the roll and do things a little bit differently, I think that's great. So I'm happy they're changing with the times, and I'll be trying it out. I'll report back.
But this is limited.
That's what they say.
That's what they said.
But I feel like it's gonna be popular.
What are you doing this weekend?
Going to Ardmore Music Hall. You ever been there?
No, I haven't, but go across the street, get some pizza at Bella Italia Pizza.
Great. I will. I think I've been there actually a long time ago. It was very good.
It is like a neighborhood spot. Staff is really nice, and they have a giant TV inside. They probably like playing some type of soccer game in there.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Great. Ardmore Music Hall, legendary spot, been around 45 plus years.
Wait, who are you going to go see?
I'm going to go see my favorite bluegrass band, Yonder Mountain String Band.
Cool.
We're just gonna bop around. It's great. What are you up to?
Well, I want to give a big birthday shout out to my mama. This week was her birthday. I love you so much. Happy birthday, girl. And I'm really glad because I got to honor her in a profile that Temple University wrote about me for their alumni spotlight series. And I was able to tell the story of how I basically grew up at Temple because my mom was getting her master's degree in physical therapy, and I went to class with her sometimes. I went there, graduated in 2010, and over the years, I've been able to raise my kids on campus. So it's like a full circle story.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Happy birthday to your mom. And we have a link to that great profile of you in today's newsletter. So people should check that out.
Thank you. And as always, before we go, we have some CityCast Philly neighbor news. So we rescheduled our CityCast Philly Presents an evening with Chef Mark Vetri, so you can still join the team and your fellow neighbors on Thursday, March 5th at the Filler Club for a night filled with good food, pasta, and conversation.
And you're only eligible to go if you become a CityCast Philly neighbor. Go to membership.citycast.fm to sign up. It comes with regular events with the team. You get a newsletter once a week that tells you all the things going on in the city earlier than everybody else gets it. Then you get ad-free listening to the show, all kinds of perks. So consider becoming a CityCast Philly neighbor, supporting what we do here. Some of you I know are new to the city. I actually met somebody this week. I was doing an event over at the Kelly Writer's House at University of Pennsylvania. She found out about the event because of our newsletter.
Wow.
And she just moved to the city last year and signed up for our newsletter and started listening to the podcast to learn about the city. So we know there's a lot of like new Philadelphians in our audience, and becoming a CityCast Philly neighbor is a great way to, meet some other folks in the city and also support what we do here. And part of what we do here is help acclimate people to the city of brotherly love and sisterly affection.
Yes. And if that person's listening, welcome. Welcome to Philly. All right, Matt, thanks for chatting with me today on CityCast Philly.
Thanks for chatting with me today on CityCast Philly.
Thanks for chatting with me.
Thanks for chatting with me.
Thanks for chatting with me. And one final note, we lost a remarkable Philadelphian this week, Isaiah Zagar, the mosaic artist behind the Magic Gardens on South Street and mixed media pieces on tens of thousands of square feet of public walls throughout the city. Zagar left an incredible mark on the city, on the arts community in Philly, and on South Street, which he helped to protect from demolition and revitalize. He exemplified why Philly is such a unique and special place. Zagar was 86 years old. We send our condolences to Zagar's wife, Julia, and his sons, Zeke and Jeremiah. That's all for us today here on CityCast Philly. Our executive producer is Matt Katz. Our producers are Abby Fritz and Francisco Kilgore. Our newsletter editor is Siani Colon. And our host is me, Trenae Nuri. Music is by Philly's own Interminable, with additional music from All the Kimonos. If you enjoyed this week of episodes, share this with a friend. Also, rate the show, leave us a review, and subscribe to our morning newsletter. We'll be back Monday morning with a roundup of a bunch of different stories. Have a great weekend and be safe, y'all. Bye.